And so I wanted that feeling. I thought claustrophobia, like you can't hide there. You are, you are seeing Russians every morning. You're seeing your fellow Americans every morning. Like this is a tiny little petri dish, of what humanity is capable of, the best and the worst, in a pressure cooker.
Olá! Hi, Gabriela. Tudo bem?
Tudo bem com você?
Também, tudo bem. Sou brasileira, mas vamos fazer a entrevista em inglês.
Porque meu sotaque é muito forte, então é horrível, então,
Não,
mas
não é horrível, mas I think you're gonna express yourself better in English.
yes, I will. You would be finishing all my sentences for me if I did.
Thank you so much for your time. A pleasure to talk to you. And first, I want to tell you that I love Our Friend. It's one of the movies, one of my favorite movies, it's really, really, really beautiful. And
So
I
much.
love that. I love that one.
Thank you. I love hearing. I love hearing when people love that movie.
Yes, that's amazing. So let's talk about I.S.S. And what was about the script? Like when you got the script from Nick, what was about that got your attention to be part of this project?
Yeah, I was really excited to get a script. I got it from Pete Shalamon and Mickey Liddell. So Pete sent me the script. It was from the Blacklist, and that's not the kind of script that usually comes my way. And so it was really exciting to be reading something so different. I knew nothing about space, and so for me, I was on the edge of my seat reading this, and I also sort of was blown away by the plot, really just the plot. Like the bare bones were all there, and in a way that I couldn't believe hadn't been done before. And I just was like, okay, this conceit is so cool. And then I was like, I felt that maybe it would be really fun to bring kind of humanity and humanness and this sort of human messiness and authenticity to the characters. And wouldn't that be a fun thing to do in what is this orb up in the sky, up in space, and make it kind of this human drama that feels a little bit like a thriller, in a place that I know nothing about. So it was just a challenge, and it was an exciting one.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching, like especially the drama, the thriller between like the characters,
Yes.
and also the way that everything was like film is very closed, like
Yeah.
very claustrophobic, and you
Yeah.
see the dimension of the space, but at the same time you so like die. Like what was like this approach, like these conversations with like the production designer and also with the cinematographer to decide like to do it this way?
Exactly. It was, from the beginning, I brought pictures and video of the space station, the real space station, to my production designer and said, like, this is what I want. I also showed my producers and said, if you want a space station that's just all metal and clean lines and everything's just, very aspirational and clean and futuristic, then I probably can't make that film. Like, it's just not in my tool set to think about films like in that way. I want to make the messy one. I want to make the messy one, like that looks real and that has layers and layers of stuff, right? Built up from decades. So that was kind of that look I wanted. And Jeff Wallace, the production designer, just completely knew what to do there, and did such a beautiful job there. But then there's just things like, you look at these space station YouTubes or you look at the pictures and it's just like all this beautiful and wonderful science is being done up there, and they do these fun videos, promotional videos to show to the kids what it's like to be an astronaut. But when you really read about what it's like to be up there, it is so haunting. We are not meant to be up there. Like, our bodies don't work well, our organs don't do well, our eyeballs don't do well. Like, it's crazy how inhumane that environment is. And so I kind of wanted a little of that insidiousness. I wanted like a little of this like okay, we're up there and we're having fun and drinking vodka and everything, but like there's always, you're just one moment of away from something going terribly wrong. And so I wanted that feeling. I thought claustrophobia, like you can't hide there. You are, you are seeing Russians every morning. You're seeing your fellow Americans every morning. Like this is a tiny little petri dish, of what humanity is capable of, the best and the worst, in a pressure cooker. So I wanted the feeling of that, of a pressure cooker.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh my God, I can't, it's kind of for us, like, especially for me, I'm gonna say about me, it's like I felt like that closeness, like, and I can see like they're suffering there, you know what I mean? Like it's amazing what you did that. I love it.
Yeah, you do see that. It's closeness. If anyone who's claustrophobic, it's not great. This is their worst nightmare,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the drama of what it's like to be a character who's challenged and who's scared and who doesn't trust everybody, like then that compounds the claustrophobia, and all the nightmarish feelings of being in that environment.
Yeah, the cast is amazing, of course. Like, yeah, I love. But I want to know what was about Ariana DeBose's previous work that made you pick her. I think it's something new for her as well, like this drama thriller. But what was about her previous work that made you pick her?
She is West Side Story had not come out yet. She hadn't won an Oscar. And so I knew that, I think the word on the street was she was amazing in West Side Story, but there was nothing to show. We couldn't see anything. So I looked back at her work, like in Prom, and like I looked at some of her social media stuff that she would do, like, little jokey things behind the scenes at Hamilton, and like all these things. And I was just like, I really like her, like she's very likable. And so there's that, which I think is very Dr. Kira Foster. And then she read for me. So she just auditioned on tape. She put herself on tape, such a joke that she had to read for me, because it's like, she's an Oscar winner. Like she was about to win an Oscar. So I was just like, I don't think I need her to read from, you know what I mean? Like, of course, I think she's Kira, but she was willing to do that. And I think there was something about the willingness to be trying a new role. When she read for me, I knew she was the one. I knew she has the humor, she has the physicality to be able to move gracefully in space, in zero gravity, and she also wants to be directed. She really wants to get better with every role she does. She's very directable, and she listens, and so like there's something so cool about that package, where I knew she could do it, but I also knew she wanted to try something different and learn. So she was an amazing person to work with.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. And I also love Chris Messina. We have Pilou, and they are amazing. And like to pick them, like to decide, because you have to have a really good cast members to hold a story, because you know what I mean? They're the ones telling the story, you know what I mean? What was like a challenge to find like the perfect actors to play these characters?
Well, everyone kind of played against type a little bit, right? Ariana's like big, bold, Anita, West Side Story, but she's like Dr. Kira Foster. She's science, she's left-brained, she's the opposite of Anita in this movie. Chris is like likable, always believe him in every single role he's in ever.
Yeah.
And him to be a commander, right? And to be sort of in charge. I wanted someone who didn't, every single second he walks on stage, he's not trying to tell you he's a commander. I wanted someone who just like, yeah, he's a commander. He's the best astronaut out of all of them, but he's still not going to lead with that, not be just all bravado. Like that was interesting. John Gallagher Jr., he was my favorite flip, right, on what you expect from him. He is so blue-eyed and perfect, and just this all-American boy. He's everybody's best boyfriend, and to watch him play with different shades in this was so much fun. It's still so creepy because you don't expect it from him. And Pilou is like always been this villain. He's always a bad guy in Game of Thrones and all his movies. It's just like, and so good at that. So like him being that bold and kind of like, okay, I don't expect very good things from this person. And then to see this big kid, you know, and a gentleness come through, that was exciting. Masha, I had not worked with her before, but she's sort of new to the American feature film scene. And she's one of my favorite discoveries. I mean, she's so emotional and wonderful and sort of good and yet so complicated. And that was just brilliant to watch her do take after take. Everything she did was brilliant. And then Costa is in The Americans as like this like Russian, you know, and he is stark and he looks like a Russian commander and he acts like a Russian commander, but in this he plays against that a little bit. He's sort of gentle in that scene. He wants Gordon to visit him in Siberia. You know, he wants to talk about how the trees smell in Russia. Like there was something so gentle about certain things he was doing and his laughter. So it's like everybody sort of got a chance to do something a little different.
Yeah, I really like that. I appreciate that you brought like a different side of each one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they can show that I can do it different as well, and I love that.
Exactly.
And also I noticed like there's some parts of the movie that when they speak Russian, they're not subtitled. That was like on purpose. There was like a intent creative of you like not leaving us like not understanding everything.
Yes, I think there was some there that it's like you know, like being up there and not knowing what your comrade is saying all the time. Like that happened in a place in the film where you're starting to wonder, who can I trust? And so I think building in a bit of those moments, you know, I mean, I don't know if you ever feel like it by, you know, speaking English, Portuguese, you know, and then just sort of like, you know, when someone says something and you're like, I don't understand what they're saying. You know what I mean? And it's just a little disquieting. And you're like, am I doing something that's upsetting someone? You know what I mean? Like, are they talking about me? You know, like it's just this, I guess it was this disquieting feeling that I wanted to have there where we're not exactly sure what they're saying.
Yeah, if they're saying good or bad stuff, yeah.
Right.
When I've been to Japan, to Korea, I have that because sometimes they try to communicate with you, but I don't know, and then they communicate with each other, and then you don't understand. I was like, what are they talking?
I know, and it's so far away from our language, you know, that you're just relying on facial expressions, you know.
Yeah, I was like, you don't, and sometimes you don't know if they're. It's so weird, but
and they don't use their hand. Like there's something with Brazilian, with like, I always feel like everybody eventually is going to understand me no matter what, because I'm just constantly gesturing, you know, and talking with hands. And there's just certain parts of the world where there's none of that. And so you're just really just relying on the words, you know, and I think Russian's one of those, you know?
Yeah. I really like that. And of course, you're promoting this film, but aside from that, are you working on your next project? Anything that you can talk about?
Not yet. I have a documentary called The Grab that comes out in June. That comes out in June. Is terms of my next project. I'm looking at things and attached to some stuff, but nothing's going yet. So I don't know.
Yeah, since we have Brazil in common, have you ever thought about working with Brazilian talent or work in Brazil?
You wouldn't believe how many things I try to get people to write or write myself that are based there, and that would just love. I mean, I have something that I've been mulling over that I want to be able to. I gotta get someone smart to help me write this but yes, I'm constantly would be a dream to be able to shoot in Brazil.
Oh yeah, I can introduce you to some people. So yeah,
We'll do this together.
Yes, no, that'll be amazing because you're so talented, and I think Brazil needs to get to know you more. You know what I mean? Like, because you have Brazilians, so that's amazing.
I know, and I love it so much, and I love the people. And my favorite film of all time is City of God.
Yes,
like nothing's ever been, you know, nothing comes close to that. So I know there's been a billion movies, Central Station, like all these movies that, you know, made my heart sing are from there. So I would love to.
That's amazing. And for us to wrap it up, what do you think people are gonna take away of like I.S.S.?
You know, I never know exactly, but I hope there is a little bit of this feeling of like, you know, I hope they have fun. I hope it's a good watch. This is a little bit of, you know, a feeling of a little bit of a thrill. But I also hope that like we kind of understand in some way that like the moment you stop trusting somebody, you become distrustful. You become untrustworthy. You're not worthy of their trust once you stop trusting them, right? Because the moment you stop trusting someone, you start building up a strategy, right, to protect yourself. And you might be building that strategy at their expense. And so it's like, you know, how we are so much better together. Like the space station is exactly how the world should work, right? Everybody relying on everybody to advance technology, you know, and to go to the stars. And so like, you see it work perfectly until greed, fear, the trying to win, you know, and deciding that the only way you can win is by them losing. Like until all of that barbaric stuff gets in people's heads, you know, we're okay, we're good, you know, with each other. So I think it shows the best of what we can be and the worst of what we can be. So I think that would be an interesting message to take away.
Amazing. Gabriela, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Muito obrigada.
Obrigada,
And
obrigada.
a lot of success, and I cannot wait for your next project. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao. If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.